we see Bobby Drake unconscious as he washes upon the shore of a beach. As he lies there on the shore, up above him fly deadly pterodactyls who notice him. As the dinosaurs fly down to eat him, a man runs to his aid. Swinging at the pterodactyl, his blow connects with the creature and he drives it off, yelling that the teen is his to take. Carl Lycos moves over to Bobby and he begins to feed off the teen's mutant energy. He manages to stop himself though, not wanting to transform back into Sauron again. We then swap over to Candy Southern as she tells the professor that there's nothing he can do about her unless he erases all the things that Warren told her about the X-Men. Knowing that he did that to Blob once, if he does it to her, he'd also have to erase Warren's memories of Candy, which he says he'd never do. He demands to know why she's there, and she's curious why he doesn't read her mind. He tells her that he could, but would be unable to know if she's telling the truth, only that she believes what she thinks. Candy points out how paranoid that sounds to her, and that he must not trust many people. Turning to Hank, we see him awaken in a village as the woman who saved him tells him that he's safe while the storm rages outside. She tells him that she saw him falling on the balloon and flew to investigate, and incredulous of her claim, he asks her who she is. She introduces herself as Ororo and tells him that she commands the winds themselves. One of the men, calling her a goddess, warns her of using her powers lest they be seized by others, and she agrees, though reluctantly, while Beast tries to understand how he's able to talk so easily to them. Running through recent events, he remembers that the radioactive gas from the city allowed limited telepathy when Ororo notices that he seems lost in thought. He asks her if she created the current storm, and she admits that she started it, but control had been wrested from her. Elsewhere, we see Jean as she's yelling for Scott even though she knows he's comatose at the moment. Sending out a thought, she manages to detect him and heads toward the leader. Finding him, she sees a man looming over Scott as he notices that his powers are different from Ororo's. Feeling that he gets his powers from the sun, he feels the energy building and wonders why he covers his eyes as he lifts the goggles. Opening one of the eyelids, the man is shocked to see an optic blast shoot by his head. Returning to Hank, he explains about how he's a mutant when a man yells for Ororo to come outside. Heading out, the man points to above the trees as Hank sees another optic blast released and figures it can only be Scott. Hurrying to the location, Hank fears it may be a distress signal. Turning to Alex and Lorna as they fly towards the smoke, Alex is poking fun at Lorna's codename of Magnatrix, and Kazar asks if the X-Men always waste time bickering. Reaching the source, they find a sea of molten lava. Seeing the remains of buildings, Lorna spots the survivors of the eruption, and they head towards them. Landing, Lorna worries that they look hostile, but Alex feels they can handle them as Kazar asks them what happened there. One of the people, though, chucks a rock that hits his head, and Havoc quickly moves in front of him, releasing the dormant energy inside him towards their attackers. We switch back to the man over Cyclops as he learns more of his abilities when Jean appears yelling for him to back away, and the man is insulted, believing himself to be Jean's superior. She repeats herself as she begins hurling a mass of rocks towards the stranger, who isn't fazed in the slightest by the attack. He learns that she's telekinetic, but that her powers pale compared to his as he hurls her backwards. Beast arrives in time to witness this and lands a solid punch on him. Keeping up the savage attack, he knocks the man down when lightning shoots from his hand, hitting Beast directly. Telling Hank that he controls the elements themselves, he sees Aurora arrive as she swears to unleash the fury of a goddess upon him, and he merely laughs. He tells her that she's the same as him, and she disagrees as she's helped others unlike him, as he simply smiles at her. He releases another bolt of electricity when she envelops the woman, causing her severe pain, and she passes out. She awakens later, tied up with the others in a dry riverbed, and the man informs him that they'll all die in the gully she was intending to fill with the storm. Taking control of the storm, he finds it ironic that the waters of life will be their death, as he intends to reveal himself to the world as Deluge and releases the water contained in the storm. Rain pounds onto the earth, flooding it and racing towards the helpless X-Men as it quickly rises around them. Hank is barely able to get a breath in as the river rises above their heads to the tops of the poles. Swapping to the South Atlantic, a captain yells for the nets to be raised as the storm is getting worse. They get a signal from one of the crew, and going to investigate, they see Warren has been pulled out and entangled in them as he notes they found another one. He yells for the men to take him below, the crew oblige, and the captain decides to wait until he gets instructions on what to do with them, and Warren is placed alongside an unconscious Avia.